The prop perspective on this Monday, we'll look at the slate in Major League Baseball, some action on the ice in the final 4 days of the regular season in the National Hockey League, and now with the NBA postseason set. We get Tom Vecchio's thoughts on it here as the jack of all trades steps up and in on a Monday on the early line. Vecchio, hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us here on this Monday on SportsGrid.
Thanks for having me. It is an awesome time to be a sports fan. Outside of October or November, this is one of the best times of the year. Playoffs starting for both the NBA and the NHL. Baseball is in full swing. Lots to get to today.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the jack of all trades, this is the time for him. NBA postseason action, soon to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and, of course, the early goings of a Major League Baseball campaign. So, Vecchio, we have two playoff series, of course, set in the Western Conference, and I find both of the outright prices rather intriguing because the lower-seeded teams who don't have home floor advantage are the outright favorites. In the 4-5 matchup, it's the Dallas Mavericks, the 5 seed, minus 120 to win the opening round outright over the LA Clippers. Same story in the 3-6 playoff series between Minnesota and Phoenix. The Suns, the 6 seed, but a minus 120 outright favorite. What do you make of the two series that we have set in the Western Conference?
Not too surprised about what we're seeing. I think a lot of people are banking on the Suns and their overall experience when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, they have an NBA champion with Durant. Booker has been there before. And then we're looking at the Timberwolves and I'm saying, okay, Karl-Anthony Towns is back, but how fully healthy is he? Is he ready to play 38, 40 minutes every single night? That's the question, combined with just their lack of inexperience overall. So I'm on board with the Suns. I've said it time and time again over the last couple of months. I think that they're in a great spot. The 6 seed, I think they can certainly win this first round. And I got to say, going into Denver, potentially in the second round, they played well against Denver at Denver this season, coming away with a couple wins. So I'm still optimistic about the Suns. And then when it comes to the Mavs, I think they can win that. And I think, honestly, the Mavs at a Western Conference price at plus 800 is something I have a ton of interest in.
Yeah, we take a look at the Western Conference odds here now that we have the playoff seedings in order. You take a look at the Denver Nuggets, and based on the FanDuel Sportsbook, they don't care that they're not the number one overall seed. A plus 135 price to come out of the West, followed by two teams at 6-1, the Thunder and the Clippers, then the Mavericks and the Suns, and the Timberwolves almost in a dead heat at 8-1 and plus 850, respectively here. Is it just Denver and everybody else out there, Tom?
I think so, but like I said, I think the Mavs are going to be my pick because if they can get past the Clippers, which I think is very viable, they won't have to play Denver until the conference finals because they're on the opposite side of the bracket. And again, when it comes to the Thunder, a young, inexperienced team, are we going to take the Mavs or are we going to take the Thunder ahead of the Mavs? I would certainly side with the Mavs in that matchup. So if I want to play the long game, I would certainly go with the Mavs. And listen, if you want the Clippers to beat the Mavs, I would say the same thing about them. Take the Clippers at plus 600 to win the West because they won't have to play Denver until the conference finals. I will take the Clippers or the Mavs ahead of the Thunder in that second round.
Yeah, it's a really interesting portion of the bracket. Do you want to be on the side with the Denver Nuggets or, despite OKC having that top overall seed, going up against the Thunder team that did play in the play-in tournament a year ago, but not in the playoffs? Same conversation, Vecchio, in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are the number one seed. They clinched the NBA's best record nearly 2 weeks ago, and they're already nearly a $2 favorite to win the Eastern Conference crown. So what do you make then of the playoff bracket in the Eastern Conference and maybe some value on the other side away from Boston?
Yeah, it's much of the same. You got to find a team that you like, and it honestly might be going to the Knicks at 12-1 to win the East. If they can get past that first round, get past that second round, obviously they won't play the Celtics until that conference finals. When I'm looking at the teams overall, I don't have a ton of trust in the Pacers just because the lack of defense that we see from them. The Magic, again, great season for them. They took a big step forward, but just the lack of experience is something I have an issue with when it comes to the playoffs. And frankly, that first round matchup for the Celtics, maybe they end up playing the 76ers or the Heat if, one of them lose and win, obviously, that second play-in. A lot of things going on. Right. That's not going to be an easy matchup for them. So a long series for the Celtics, maybe the Knicks cruise past one round, maybe 2 rounds. I will take the Knicks at 12-1.
East Coast, West Coast matchups. There's certainly somebody's got to come out of the East, somebody's got to come out of the West. If we're looking at the NBA championship odds right now, the Boston Celtics at a plus 165 price, the Denver Nuggets at a 3-1 price, followed by the Clippers, that sort of shelf here and that fall off at 14-1, and then we see the Bucks at a 12-1 price. Is it, again, easy just to say Nuggets versus Celtics? And also, Tom, somebody to the East and somebody to the West. Give me some upset thoughts here. Who can knock the Nuggets out and who can knock the Celtics out in the East?
Yeah, this is certainly a tough market, and if you were just banking on the chalk and that's what you expect, I wouldn't go to either of the direct. I wouldn't go to either the Boston odds or the Denver odds. I would go to direct outcome, which would be Boston to beat Denver at plus 520. Like, if you just think the chalk is going to hit, that's what it's going to be. You either choose Boston to beat Denver, or Denver to beat Boston, whatever it might be. But it's going to be rolling with the Suns or rolling with the Knicks. Two of these longer shots, especially the Knicks, man, when they play kind of their style, the Tom Thibodeau style, heavy minutes for their starters, super slow, super defensive, that's going to kind of hinder the Celtics and what they want to do. And the Celtics want to take 43s a game. If they run on the bad side of variance on that, it's going to be a very tough matchup for them.
Vecchio, I appreciate your love for the New York Knicks, who Donnie and I both feel as though if they were to get that 2-7 matchup based on the odds against Philadelphia, the 76ers would be in a prime spot to maybe get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Vecchio says not so fast. Now we go to Major League Baseball, Vecchio, with a big slate on this Monday. We start in Toronto between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. New York, not the sweep in Cleveland as the Guardians win in extras in the finale last night against the Bombers. But New York off to a really good start. Best record in the bigs to begin this year, 12-4. Very slight underdog on the road against the Jays, minus 110. Toronto, the very slight home favorite. Total at 9. What's the approach up in the 6?
Yeah, this is obviously certainly a great matchup, and I think I'm going to keep it super simple, and that's we're going to Juan Soto for 2+ total bases for the Yankees, going up against Chris Bassett. Not really a strong pitcher last year versus lefties. Allowed a 504 slugging, 2.03 home runs per 9, and a 46% fly ball rate. So just give me Soto versus righties last year, 273 ISO, super low 16% striker rate, does not waste any chance at the plate in a 166 WRC plus. I don't think the Yankees are like massive in a spot to win this game massively outright, but just give me Soto, super simple at 2+.
Small ballpark, maybe some shots going up there in Toronto. Let's also take a look at here. Atlanta versus Houston, maybe a preview here of a possible World Series if Houston can get it together and Atlanta can get some competent pitching. But we take a look at the total in this game, no surprise, it's at 10. It's a small ballpark. Vines versus Arrighetti. You're not even getting A-level pitching matchups going back and forth between these two. Slight favorite here, depending on where you're shopping at. It's roughly a pick 'em, Tom. Atlanta and Houston tonight. What can we look forward to?
I think we can look for some runs tonight. I have very little read on these two pitchers, Darius Vines and Spencer Arrighetti. They have a combined 35 total MLB innings pitched over this year and last year. Combined, Arrighetti has 3 innings pitched just last week. So if I'm not expecting any consistency when it comes to pitching, that should mean they're both righties, by the way. So I'm going to go into lefties on each side. Kyle Tucker, my guy, Matt Olson, 2+ total bases. They're plus 105, plus 110, whatever it might be. Offense tonight, not a whole lot of pitching from both sides.
Atlanta has the highest over percentage in Major League Baseball. 10 games over, only 3 unders, and 1 push. 77% of the games for the Braves hitting the over at this moment. For Houston, a lot of unders to start, but the Astros have gone over in 5 straight and 6 of their last 7. Big news for the Braves, Tom, over the weekend. It was confirmed what was feared in Atlanta. Spencer Strider out for the remainder of 2024 with that UCL injury to his right pitching elbow. The Braves still the second best price to win the World Series at 5-1, just $1.50 behind the Dodgers, plus 350 over 2 weeks into this Major League Baseball season. Are you starting to see any value pop up in those World Series prices?
That's going to the Baltimore Orioles, and they're off to a good start. I also think they are on the path to getting better because both Kyle Bradish and John Means will be back at some point. 2 very solid pitchers. We don't have exact timetables on when they'll be returning, but their pitching is good. Obviously, the addition of Burns in the offseason was awesome. So you add in Bradish and Means. Once the second half of the season gets rolling, they build up, and then they're ready for the postseason. I expect them to compete for the division title, and if not that, they'll absolutely be in the wild card spot. So give me the Orioles right now.
Speaking of wild card watch, boy, the NHL coming down the stretch, similar to what we saw, Tom, in the NBA. The Bruins and the Capitals, the Canadiens and the Red Wings, and the Predators and the Penguins light it up tonight. What do you like on the ice tonight? Which is the right way to go?
So starting off, the Predators and the Penguins under 6.5 is sitting at -130. This is a literal must-win for the Penguins. A literal must-win. They have to win this game or they are eliminated. Also for the Predators, while their spot is locked up and they're holding down the number one wild card in the West, this is their last game of the season. Vegas has 2 games in hand. So if the Predators were to lose this game and Vegas wins out their last 2, that means the Preds would be playing Dallas in the first round as opposed to the Canucks. And I've talked about Dallas before. They're one of the best teams to win the Stanley Cup. So the Preds also have motivation to play and win. So they don't want to fall into that spot. So a lot of unders tonight. And then for Boston and Washington, huge game for Washington as well. Boston, they still need to secure home ice, that top seed over the Panthers. So Alexander Ovechkin over 3.5 shots. It's sitting at -102. Surprisingly, since the start of April, the Bruins, they're allowing 71.4 shot attempts against. That's actually the worst in the league per 60 minutes in 5v5 situations since the beginning of April. So the Bruins are kind of slacking on defense right now. Ovechkin and the Capitals need to win. Fire some shots tonight.
The Caps, a home ice underdog. Washington, at this current moment, holds on to the second and final wild card spot, but hot on their heels, as Vecchio said. The Penguins, the Red Wings, over a $2 favorite tonight in the Motor City. It's getting good in these final 4 days of the NHL regular season. Let's show Tom's top props for the prop perspective on this Monday. The jack of all trades for a reason. Even an early play-in tournament bet for Draymond Green and the Golden State Warriors for the nightcap tomorrow night. Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time.